Yo, Kpaceguy here, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm bringing you a really unexpected video. We're actually going to be unboxing this projector screen. If you're familiar with my channel, I have been using my Elite screens. I think this is an acoustically transparent screen that just came out. It's an 8K acoustically transparent screen that I've been using for about 4 or 5 months that Elite Screens sent out to me for review. But now we have a sister company in Akia. They have sent me another screen, and this one is an ALR screen, ambient light rejecting. Sorry guys, my mic had died, but what I was trying to get at is I just recently purchased an ultra short throw projector, a UST projector, and how ultra short throw projectors emit light is from underneath. It shines from the bottom up to your screen instead of your traditional projector that shines light from above. And ALR screens are meant to block a lot of that ambient light away. So how it works is the screen's material has little jagged edges that shield light from above from being reflected back into our eyes, but it emits light from coming underneath. And that gives you really nice contrast because it blocks away some of the light that usually causes fading in your picture quality. So typically it's better for daytime use or rooms that have a lot of light that comes in. And so Akia sent this screen out to me to review for you guys. One, just to show you guys the unboxing, which is what we're going to do in this video today. We're going to get it unboxed, go through setup, and put it on the wall. And then we'll look at a few images just to see some of the initial picture quality. I'm going to save it for another video. We'll do a full review and compare it to your typical your white screens, your matte white screens, your acoustic transparent screens like I was using. We're going to compare it to that and see if there truly is a difference between an ALR screen and a traditional screen using an ultra short throw projector. A lot of you guys in the comment section below were telling me, hey, Kpaceguy, I love your projector, but you got to get a screen for it. And we'll see if it's worth getting a new screen for ultra short throw or not. So let's get it unboxed, get it open, get it set up, and we'll walk you through that process. All right guys, so when you are opening your screen, regardless of who it's from or what it is, you wanna make sure that you have a big empty space. Let me move my mic so I don't knock it over. You wanna make sure that you have a big open space, typically on carpet or a table, something like that. It's not gonna damage the screen because once you damage the screen once, it's irreplaceable. It's not gonna be something that you can just kind of patch up. So have a nice soft surface. They do provide, usually all projector manufacturers, projector screen manufacturers provide some type of soft material to lay your screen on. We're going to utilize this. Even though I have carpet, I'm going to use this just to further have precaution, right? We want to make sure that when you are opening the material, which is inside this big roll here, that you do it on the floor so that you don't scratch anything, rip, tear, whatever the case is. So we're going to do that really quickly. So we have our protective mat down on the floor. And what I like to do when I build anything, whether it's like a cabinet or a bookshelf or something, I like to go ahead and get all the parts out of the box. And a lot of times these are labeled sometimes, or at least they're identical to each other. And I like to kind of place them around the room in order. So when it comes time for me trying to find them in whatever steps that I'm in, I kind of know where they are. So I like to take everything out of the box and kind of organize them around the area that I'm working in. So we're going to do that here. And it also helps to identify, make sure that everything's in the box that should be in the box. Usually manufacturers will bring like a checklist of all the materials that should be there, so you can kind of identify if anything's missing before you get started. So there is some gloves and some things like that in here that we'll get into in just a second. So let's lay all this stuff out and get the boxes out of the way so we can use as much space as possible. All right, we have all of our pieces kind of laid out. Like I said, I like to kind of organize things, make sure everything that's supposed to be in the box is in the box. We have some gloves, we have some hooks, we have some mounting brackets, things like that. We don't have to put on the gloves just yet. The gloves are for when you're going to be utilizing the screen. But we're not going to do that step just yet. The first step is to kind of lay out the frame. So you're going to see 6 different silver pieces. This is the frame in which the screen is going to hook onto. And they're labeled A, B, and C on the paper, not necessarily on the units themselves, but they're very easy to identify. And so there's 2 long pieces and 4 short. Your longer pieces are going to be your sides there because they both have corners cut on the sides. It's really easy to identify it that way. So we're just going to place those on the side however large we think the screen is going to be, which will be a lot larger than this, of course, but just to get them where they're going to go. And then we're going to put our shorter pieces here. So this one will go there. We'll move this a little bit wider. This one will go over here. And where did these go? This one will come over here. And this one will come over here. And the way that you know is because of these corner cuts here, they can only go one way. And so that's kind of how you know they'll connect to their pieces, making a 90-degree angle. So we'll put them in that area. All right, guys, once you have your frame kind of mapped out, it's really easy. They all make 90-degree angles, so you only can really put it one way. And once you've had that done, you want to grab your B bag, your A bag, and your G bag. G bag will have some screws, and then you'll have a couple brackets. And you're going to use this to kind of bring together your A beams, I believe is what they were. So you're going to bring the top and the bottom beams and hook them together and then use these screws to fasten them. And so I already have an example down here, which I'll bring you guys closer to. So if you come down here, we have some brackets in that area there. So you want to put the bigger holes on the top and the smaller holes on the bottom, and then bring this bracket in, and then you just fasten them down with the screws, which we'll do right now. Moving on from your top and bottom frame, so you want to now connect your 90-degree angles together. And you're going to use bag C, D, and again your G screws. And just like you did on the top and bottom frame, the side frames, the corners, one bracket will go on the top and then one bracket will go on the bottom, just like you did before. So rinse and repeat what you did for the top and bottom with the right angles, and you'll have your whole frame now put together. Our frame is assembled, and now it's time to roll out the screen, because we're actually going to put the frame over top of the screen. Now this is the disclaimer that we had in the beginning. We want to make sure that we have our, what they call a sponge on the ground, or a soft table or a floor, like a rug, and you want to open the material on the floor itself. So I'm actually going to kind of do this little thing to get it out. And this is also a good part to probably put your gloves on. So right now it's covered with some, I can touch this part because it's protected with some wrap, so it's okay to grab this part for right now. So I'm going to do that just to help it get out of the box a little bit. But you're going to want to put your gloves on. And this is also the part where it said don't bend the screen. You want to make sure that this stays straight, because if you bend it at all, you might as well just go ahead and pack it right back up. Call Akia and say, hey, I just ruined my screen, I need a new one. So we're going to make sure that this comes out straight so that we don't bend the screen itself. There's still a little bit of tape on here. It's holding on to the pole. Let me see if I can't get this out. All right, we have it unraveled now. I'm gonna find my gloves here because I know we're gonna need them. Now, inside their booklet, when you're looking at the instructions, there's a lot of different disclaimers and precautions that they give you on some documents, on some literature. And one of those is gonna be the smell you get when you open the screen, which is very strong. In a small place like this, it's not going to be pretty hard to kind of engulf what it's kind of emitting. But there's a strong smell to it, and that's because there's some protective things that keep the screen, preserved and all that good stuff during shipment and before use and all that good stuff. And so you're going to smell that, and it may be strong to some. For me personally, my allergies are terrible as it is, and so it's not taking much at all for me to start getting a headache. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. It is normal. Now there are four gloves, 2 sets. So if you have a friend or somebody, which I have here, to help you put the rest of the screen up, you have 2 pairs here. So I'm going to put one on, then I'll have her put one on too. And you also have 2 hooks in the bag as well. So these hooks are going to allow you to pull those tension strings, those springs, to snap the screen in place, which we'll see here shortly. So I'm going to go ahead and put my gloves on before I unravel the screen, and then we're going to kind of lay it out and get ready to put the frame on top of it. So here we go. I got my Michael Jackson gloves on. I love this part. Alright, forgive me, my mic has died, so maybe a little bit difference in sound quality, but the show must go on. We have our tension rod in, and don't expect you to have a lot of tension in your tension rod. It's to keep it from caving in. It's not really gonna push your frame outward, so it keeps the frame from bowing when you're putting your screen on. Once you have your tension rod on, now you wanna move to the hooking part of the step. And I already have a little bit of example down here at the bottom towards my left side. So what you wanna do is grab your gloves, grab your H bag for the hooks, and then grab the hooking tool that came in with that glove bag. And you want to start putting your hooks on. Now, pay attention to the instructions, because it's super important that you put these in the right order. They're labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. If you want to start with the outside too, number 1, number 2 is the opposite side, number 3 is the top and bottom, and whatever the layout is, follow those instructions. Now, the tool is made for you to be able to put the hook inside your screen. There's some holes around the outside. Put the hook in the screen, and then use the tool to pull that hook into the frame, and it snaps into place. Now, if you're new to putting screens up, you may want to follow the instructions a little more heavily and make sure you're doing what they recommend. But if you've done this before, me personally, I find it easier to just put the hook in the screen and then take my finger and then press the hook into the spot that it's going to hook into. It'll make sense here when I show you guys. It's a little bit faster. There's a lot of holes around this screen. And so when you're doing the hooking tool, sometimes it's hard to get the hook back out of the hooking tool back out of the hook. Sometimes it gets stuck in between the hook and the frame, and you might have a hard time getting your hooking tool back out. I find it much easier to just take my finger and put it in. Now, it won't be that easy as the screen gets tighter. You have to be careful, because the more tension, of course, the harder that spring is going to snap back at you. So if you're worried about snapping a finger or something like that, please follow the instructions more clearly. But if you're more of the intermediate user, you may be able to use your fingers or find another method to make it faster. So I have my assistant on the other side. We're going to go around the frame here in the order that they present on the paper and start to add tension to our screen, and then we're pretty much close to complete from that point. Alright guys, after about 24 days of putting these screws in, we finally got them all in. This never gets any easier. It's the most tedious part of the screen, but it's necessary. This is the only way you're going to get your tension. But we've done that part. Now we want to put our frame together. Inside the box we had 6 different black pieces that we are now going to kind of assemble the same way we did our frame. If you remember, our outside frame had some 90-degree angles and he has some straight ones. We're gonna do that same method again with the black border that goes around it. And so you're gonna see some different types of pieces, but they pretty much look really similar. And this is where the instructions didn't help too much. If you take a look at some of these bars here, they're labeled like E and F and whatever the case is, but again, my biggest complaint is there's no like sticker or even like a Sharpie or something that has the letter of each bar on any of the pieces when you're assembling. And that's my biggest pet peeve with any manufacturer. Please put stickers or something that tells you what you're looking at, because a black and white image can make it very hard to identify what pole or what piece you're supposed to use. But with a little bit of trial and error, you'll figure it out. So you want to get your frame and you want to try to fit it around to see how it's going to fit around the overall screen. And you're going to put the pieces in the wrong spot at first, but make sure you double check yourself, because there's a little lip or a little groove on some of these. It's very minute, but if you want to kind of feel around, there's a little groove, and this is the part that's going to wrap under the screen. And all of them are going to have that around the area. Now inside the bag, you're going to have some L brackets, you can kind of call them, and this is going to give you that right angle. You're going to do what you did with the screen the first time with the frame, and put your brackets inside, and you're gonna kind of piece together your frame like this so that everything starts to make an L shape. Eventually you'll get around the perimeter of the screen. It took a little bit of trial and error to get that. It's not the easiest, more straightforward thing, so I'll show you one more time. Each frame has like a little groove, a little lip on the bottom here, as you guys can see. This is what's gonna kind of tuck underneath each part of your frame, all 6 pieces. Once you've identified which ones go where, you're going to take your right bracket, your L bracket, and you're going to put it in the elbows. They slide in really, really easily. And then you're going to do the same thing in the middle. You're going to have your straight brackets here, just like the frame was. You're just going to insert those. So it's actually straightforward once you get your pieces mapped out correctly, but the instructions don't necessarily give you a clear indication of what's correct. So make sure you triple check your work before you fasten this, or you're going to have to unscrew them and do them again. So I'm gonna have my trusty partner help me finish this part, and then we should be pretty close to done. Alright guys, the screen is up and the frame is on, and I didn't realize how dark this screen was going to be. I had the Cinegray screen before the one that's on the wall now, and the Cinegray, I don't remember it being as dark as this one is, and so that's actually really cool. Again, you want to make sure when you are configuring your screen, on the back side of the screen there are arrows that point upwards that tells you where the top of the screen is. If you get this mixed up, you're going to know pretty quickly, because since they have angled kind of rivets basically inside the screen, it's not going to reflect the right way, so it's going to be a really dull flat image. If you have it the right way, you'll definitely know. The last thing that we want to do is take these little corner pieces. Inside are adhesive. You want to take the yellow part off, and you just want to put them on your frame to kind of cover those corners to make them look a little more tidy. So that's where I'm going to drop mine actually. Instead of putting them on, I'm going to drop another one instead of putting it on. But you want to put them on the corners and just cover up those small little pieces, and just to kind of tidy things up together. But you guys get the point. I'm going to put those on, and then we're going to take the screen that's on the wall off and put the new one up, and then we'll kind of take it from there. All right guys, we have the screen up, and I immediately see a difference in contrast for sure. Just being a gray screen in general helps, but I have the lights on the same way that I did in the beginning. If you were paying any attention to when the screen was on with the previous screen, it's the same image that I'm using now, and it's an instant difference for me. I can easily tell the moment that I got the screen situated, and so I'm very happy with the difference in it. I'm gonna do a full review of this. This is more of the unboxing and setup video. but I'm actually going to do a video of an overall review, of course, but comparing it to the previous screen and seeing those differences, because they state that this is 75 times better in contrast than your traditional matte white screen, which is what I was using. And so I'm gonna watch a couple familiar clips that I like to see, movies I like to watch, and just general YouTube videos, whatever I like to watch, and see some true differences. And this video is going up Friday. Sunday, this weekend, I'm gonna do that video for you guys. So thank you too much to Akia for sending this out to me for review. It's a beautiful screen, really easy to put together. I do want to give one point of improvement. I would love to see labels on some of these bars and pieces. There were parts during installation where it was kind of frustrating that could be avoided if they had labels. Some things look really similar, some things can be turned around the wrong way, so it's nice to have like a little sticker that says A or top side, bottom side. Little small things like that can really help the customer, the consumer finish their project a lot better. I've done some of these screens by myself, but it definitely helps and speeds things up if you can have a partner. But it only helps if you guys can put stickers and labels on things so that when we unbox all these pieces, we further know where things go. But a special shout out to Akia for sending this out to me for review. Again, the full review will be this weekend. I want to sit down and get everything corrected, go through calibration again with my projector, get everything situated, and then we'll come back and revisit this. So make sure to go down below in the description box and hit the link if you want to see not only this screen, but they have a catalog of a lot more screens. So make sure to hit that link down below. Hit that like button while you're there and subscribe if you are not already. We will see you guys in the next video. Kpaceguy out. Peace.